examples of excessive force by the same group of Kentucky state troopers. 5! That's how many are in this lawsuit right here, alleging violations of Dawson Blevins' 4th and 14th Amendment rights. Blevins says he was tased multiple times, pepper sprayed, and thrown to the ground during a routine traffic stop, all while he was trying to comply with the arresting officer. Obviously, when I call it a routine traffic stop, I'm just being polite. It should have been a routine traffic stop, but it appears that Trooper Wright is out of his ever-loving mind. And just to be careful, I'm gonna say words like allegedly and according to the lawsuit. We've watched the video. There's no doubt that every single allegation in this lawsuit is true. Now Dawson is taking legal action, and not just for himself, but to expose what he calls a culture of violence and silence within Kentucky law enforcement. I'm America's attorney. I've been a lawyer for over 23 years. I've helped over 1.2 million people, and today, we're going to break down what happened on June 19, 2024, and we're going to look at this new lawsuit. Dawson Blevins is a 35-year-old construction worker from Kentucky who was on the job with a coworker on June 19, 2024, when his life changed dramatically. According to the lawsuit, he was riding in the passenger seat of a vehicle headed to a work site when Trooper James Wright pulled them over, allegedly because the driver wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Although Blevins wasn't the driver, Trooper Wright focused his attention on him, claiming that he recognized him from a previous encounter. After coaxing the driver into admitting there might have been marijuana in the car months earlier, Wright used that as a justification to order Blevins out of the vehicle. Body cam footage shows that as Blevins complied and attempted to remove his seatbelt and get out of the car, Wright became aggressive, threatening arrest, throwing Blevins to the ground, and ultimately deploying his taser multiple times. In addition to that, he splashed him in the face with pepper spray. Despite Blevins putting his hands behind his back and trying to comply with Trooper Wright, he was repeatedly shocked. He got that pepper spray, and according to the lawsuit, he was left with serious injuries, including compression fractures to his spine. The entire encounter was captured on Wright's body cam, and all charges against Blevins, which were made up, were later dismissed. Trooper James Wright wasn't a rookie officer making a bad judgment call. He was a state trooper with a long history of violent encounters and a series of allegations of excessive force. This wasn't the first time someone had accused him of abusing his power. In fact, Blevins' case marks at least the 4th known incident involving Wright. Back in 2020, Wright was involved in 3 separate incidents where he allegedly used excessive and gratuitous force against individuals who appeared to be complying or offering minimal resistance. One of those incidents involved Justin Halcomb, who was thrown to the ground and beaten after surrendering. Sounds familiar. Another involved Thomas Davis, who was pulled from his car and struck multiple times. Kind of sounds familiar. And perhaps most egregiously in the case of Alex Hornback, Wright and another trooper allegedly beat a man inside his own home, deleted a witness's video of the incident, and later gave false testimony under oath. Testimony a judge later said was contradicted by video evidence. Despite this fantastic track record, or perhaps because of it, Wright continued to serve as a police officer. He faced no meaningful discipline, and he was even named Trooper of the Year in 2021. How bad must all the other Kentucky State police officers be if Wright is the best one? I mean, that's a head scratcher. His pattern of violence was not only tolerated, but seemingly rewarded, raising serious questions about oversight within the Kentucky State Police. What makes this new case even more troubling is that the misconduct didn't happen in a vacuum. 7 other officers are named as defendants in Blevins' lawsuit. According to the Blevins lawsuit, high-ranking officials within the Kentucky State Police were fully aware of Trooper Wright's history of excessive force and did nothing to stop it. Supervisors at multiple levels, including lieutenants, captains, majors, and even the commissioner, allegedly knew about the previous violent incidents involving Wright. When I say that they allegedly knew about his history, I mean, I'm just being polite. They obviously knew about it because there are government records detailing some of his, well, hopefully worst deeds. Despite these facts, they took no meaningful corrective action. The complaint claims this wasn't just negligence. Instead, it was deliberate indifference. The message from the top of the KSP was clear. Excessive force would be tolerated. Hey, even celebrated. Yay! This failure of leadership, the lawsuit argues, directly enabled the abuse that Blevins suffered. At the heart of this lawsuit are serious constitutional claims under the 4th and 14th Amendments. Dawson Blevins alleges that Trooper Wright used excessive force against him while he was not resisting, violating his clearly established right to be free from unnecessary violence during an arrest. And yes, again, I said allegedly, but good grief. Watch the tape. It happened. The lawsuit points to 6th Circuit precedent that says physical force against a compliant suspect is unconstitutional, especially when that force continues after the person is subdued. Candidly, it sounds like that Sixth Circuit case was written right after they watched the footage of the Blevins arrest. The suit also targets 7 high-ranking officials in the Kentucky State Police for supervisory liability, arguing that they knowingly acquiesced in Wright's misconduct by failing to discipline him despite repeated red flags. The lawsuit seeks not just monetary damages, but also injunctive relief, calling on the court to force the KSP to implement real oversight to prevent future abuses. Now that the lawsuit has been filed in federal court, the case enters a critical phase that could take months or perhaps even years to resolve. The defendants, including Trooper Wright and his supervisors, will have to formally respond either by filing motions to dismiss or by answering the complaint and moving into the discovery phase of the lawsuit. If the court allows the case to move forward, which I believe that it will, both sides will begin exchanging evidence, including internal records, body cam footage, and, of course, taking deposition testimony, which I guess Trooper Wright will lie in. I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out later. This process could uncover more details about how much the Kentucky State Police leadership knew and when they knew it. Meanwhile, Trooper Wright is also facing criminal charges in federal court for previous excessive force incidents, which could affect how this case plays out. I wish I could be on that jury. A conviction or a guilty plea could strengthen Blevins' claims, especially if the underlying conduct overlaps with how he treated Blevins. There's also the possibility that the case settles out of court to avoid prolonged litigation and damaging public revelations. If it goes to trial, it could open a door to a broader examination of systemic issues within the Kentucky State Police. Dawson's lawsuit raises serious questions about accountability, oversight, and the culture within the Kentucky State Police. Again, I'm being polite. It doesn't raise questions. It shines a spotlight on the obvious wickedness and lawlessness that is so clearly rampant in that of a police force. But obviously, not allowed to say that on YouTube, so you probably bleep me out and no one knows what I actually said, but good grief, they suck. With multiple incidents, a federal indictment, and mounting public scrutiny, the pressure is on for answers. Whether this lawsuit does lead to justice, or to meaningful reform, or yet another quiet dismissal, well, all that remains to be seen. Hey, those are my thoughts, but what do you think of the Blevins lawsuit? Have you seen the horrific body cam footage of his arrest? Do me a favor, drop your pro se opinion down below and let me know exactly where you'd like to kick Trooper Wright. And don't forget, while you're down there, to lawyer up with me, America's Attorney, by hitting the subscribe button. In fact, just treat it like it's Trooper Wright's face. And I'll be back soon with more legal breakdowns, and I'll see you then. Like a feather with you off my mind. Supervisors at and the culture within the